Wilson alumni, President Fugate, faculty, staff, and guests. My name's Trish Bennett. I'm a member of the class of 68. I'm a director of the Alumni Association, and I'm the chair of AAWC's Recognition and Stewardship Committee. Whether you are here with us in the Science Center or joining us virtually, we extend you a warm welcome to today's AAWC Awards ceremony. It is a feature of every Wilson reunion, and this year we are especially honoring the past and embracing the future. Specifically today, we are honoring 5 people of the Wilson family whose past and current achievements and accomplishments bring honor to their alma mater. They've responded to the call to serve others. By their lives and their actions, they have been the proverbial doers of the word. They set a high bar for the coming generations of Wilson's graduates, and their legacies bode well for the future promise of Wilson. In addition to the recognition given our awardees this afternoon, all of the award recipients have a commemorative brick placed in the memorial walkway that runs through campus. They have been laid at the very last minute, for which we thank the powers that be. We invite you to wander through the walkway and see these tangible glimpses of Wilson's history laid out by families, friends, and students. Wilson has left her inevitable mark on these lives, and in turn, these lives are forever bound up in the campus of their alma mater. Before we begin the presentation today, if there are any past AAWC award recipients, would you please stand up and be recognized? Our first honoree this afternoon is the recipient of the Faculty Award. Established in 1998, the award is presented to honor a faculty member who has given a minimum of 10 years of service to Wilson College. This year, we recognize a professor of sociology who has said that she doesn't want to produce sociology majors. She wants to encourage students to think sociologically and better understand race, gender, class, no matter what their majors are. The holder of a BA in English and Peace Studies from Hamline University, an MA in philosophy, and a PhD in sociology from Colorado State University, our honoree believes that her freedom as a teacher sets Wilson apart. She incorporates film, podcasts, field trips, community action, and much more into her curricula, which her students highly value. A self-confessed NPR junkie, she has a fondness for documentaries, radio streams, and audiobooks. And she has noted time and again that Wilson has extended support and generosity to faculty and staff facing challenges in pre- and post-COVID times. The Alumni Association of Wilson College is honored to recognize Professor Julie Rowley as the recipient of the Faculty Award of 2024.
It's really my pleasure to be here to talk to you today about my good friend and colleague, Julie Rowley. You heard a little bit about her academic profile already. I would add, Julie teaches a wide range of courses in sociology, women's studies, recently criminal justice. I mean, she can really do all kinds of things. She served the college as a women's studies coordinator, a first-year and major advisor, a member of multiple standing and ad hoc committees, and so much more. In her professional and community engagement, Julie attends regional and national conferences. She gives community talks. She serves on nonprofit boards. She ran for public office. She's really, really amazing. Uses the service learning components of so many of our courses to benefit both our students and the community groups that they serve. I had the pleasure of arriving at Wilson about a year after Julie, so we've both been here for nearly 20 years. It's hard to kind of do that math, but about 20 years. And when we got here, you know, we were both from afar. We had young children, 2 of whom just graduated from college this last month, right? They've kind of grown up together. and we've really grown to be family. And so you've really selected a wonderful, wonderful candidate for this award today. Beyond her academic profile, I just want to say two things. I mean, you spoke to Julie's enthusiasm for NPR. She's enthusiastic about so many things. She lights up a room. She does it as a teacher. You can just feel her energy in the classroom. She's also an enthusiast for British television shows. She's always got a recommendation for me. Coffee, you might appreciate this, good bourbon. I mean, she likes the good things in life. And she does have a kind of missionary zeal for sociology and helping not just students, but I would say faculty and administrators understand the value of thinking about things, not just from an individual actor's perspective, really thinking about systems, thinking about institutions, thinking about historical practices. I've learned so much from her myself. In addition to having kind of enthusiasm for some of those things I've already mentioned, she loves art, and she loves she's never met an artist that she didn't kind of love. I think that's probably true, right? She collects their art. She supports local artists. So she's just wonderful. She has so many passions and interests herself, and she does a great job as a mentor to our students, really encouraging them to seek out, to find what it is that they're passionate about, what are they curious about, and helping them explore some of those curiosities. The last thing I'll say is that Julie is probably one of the most generous people I know. Her sense of gratitude is overwhelming. She's often the first one to send a congratulatory email out to people. Doesn't matter, small, big. She's the first one to reach out. She's always the one to kind of start a process like in a faculty meeting of recognizing people for their service, recognizing people for their extraordinary work, recognizing especially people who maybe haven't sometimes been noticed before, acknowledging how important they are to the work of the college. She's just gracious and generous with so many of her talents. Again, you couldn't have made a finer selection. Congratulations, Julie.
Thanks, John. I'll be brief. I came to Wilson in 2005 to interview for a one-year job, and I've been here ever since. I stayed because of my remarkable colleagues like John, like many of the people in the room, and some really fabulous students, again, many of whom are in the room. So I'm just very touched and honored, and thank you very much for this award.
The Outstanding Young Alumni Award was established in 1989 to honor an alum who has attended the school within the last 20 years and who has brought honor to him or herself and to Wilson through him or her intellectual and social growth, contributions to his or her communities through professional and/or volunteer activities. This year, the Recognition and Stewardship Committee has selected a graduate of the Single Parents Program. After earning a BS in economics from Wilson, she was awarded an MA in institutional technology and media from Columbia University. Our honoree is an operations leader and director for Fidelity Investments in Boston. She is a strategic and organizational design professional with over 18 years of progressive experience across software development functions, and has held a number of high offices with the Grace Hopper Celebration and the Anita B. Organization, formerly the Anita Borg Institute for Women and Technology, both dedicated to recruiting, retaining, and advancing and empowering women in software technology. She's a Vanguard Woman in Technology Scholar, a recipient of the Lean Award, and a 2016 Rossoff 2020 Technology Honoree. We are so very pleased to present this year's Outstanding Young Alum Award to Lijmi Preval, the class of '09.
Good afternoon, Wilson alumni, professionals, family, and friends. Today, I feel privileged and honored to stand here in front of you and acknowledge the achievements of our brilliant sister in academia, Lijmi Preval. The Young Alumni Award, as was just described, recognizes young talents who have brought honor to themselves as well as Wilson College through their intellect and professional growth, and is making demonstrable contributions to their communities and with volunteer activities. Today, we have gathered here to celebrate the achievements of students of past, as well as give due regard to the values and principles they exemplify, like honor, compassion, and zeal for learning and teaching others. I want to stress the teaching part because Lijmi has been a mentor to me from the day our friendship was formed. Allow me to have a Sophia Petrillo moment here and set the scene for you. I hope you all got that reference. Okay, picture this. It was winter 2007, and our dear alumni friend, another one, Nerfis Nieves, set on a trip to go to Puerto Rico and asked me to pick her up from the airport. To know me is to know I did not plan for that, right? I said, yes, of course. And then I just went about my business. And on the day it was set for me to pick her up, I was in a panic because I didn't even know how to get to BWI. And so I ran around Prentice Hall, begging anyone who would listen to help me to go pick up our friend who was literally sitting at the airport at that moment. And I hadn't even, Lijmi and I knew each other, but we didn't kind of start interacting. And I went to her and I said, hey, can you, do you know? She's like, yeah, I do. And she says, I will give you directions. I'm sorry. Lijmi, who I had limited interactions up to that point, agreed. But if you know Lijmi, she agreed with clear stipulations. She said, I will give you directions. I will ride with you, but I will not drive. I provide that example because that embodies Lijmi. She will guide you, she will offer support, but it's important to her that you learn through the process so that you can be self-sufficient in the future. She's invested in the success of others and always push others to be the best, and most importantly, give the best that you can. Lijmi inspired me in so many ways. She came to Wilson College with a vision, her goals intact, and a clear plan to execute them. At the time, it was to work for Google. She talked about it endlessly, okay? And she wanted to live, but ultimately, she wanted to live a life with no limitations. She knew education would put her in the best position to thrive. She doesn't know this, but her sense of determination gave me permission to dream big, to believe that I could be someone and inspire my son, who is here in the parents program as well, and leave a lasting imprint on this world. I hope you're getting the sense that we forged families here. My Wilson friends became my family. Lijmi is the big sister that I always wished for. I go to her for advice still to this day about anything, from raising our children, career choices, and yes, even dancing. One of my fondest memory moments was a night I went to her room seeking help on how to learn how to do the dance, the heel toe. She literally walks me through step by step. And when I wanted to give up, because it was so much, right? I wanted to give up. She kept telling me to practice. After 3 hours, and I seriously mean about 3 hours, I was just heel toeing it up. We was up there all night long doing the dance. I will never forget those deep belly laughs. And you hold on to those moments because after you graduate, you get involved. It's the hustle and bustle of life. You don't have as many of those moments anymore. So I cherish our times. Before I leave the stage, I also have to mention how proud I am to see Dr. Raleigh receiving the Faculty Award. She was integral to my growth as a woman and understanding the world through my social location. I always say, I think it's ironic that 2 white female professors, her and also Dr. Bev, started me on my journey of self-love and pride in my Black experience and my experience in the world. So shout out to Dr. Raleigh. To wrap this up, I know that with time, change is inevitable, and we can see that here at Wilson College, but I can't leave this stage without saying I am proud to stand amongst wild Wilson women. And with that, I ask that you join me in welcoming Lijmi to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't even know how to follow that. Thank you, Tamika. That was amazing. Wow, I'm like extremely overwhelmed. I didn't want to prepare anything because I didn't know what to expect. But first, I definitely want to address Tamika. It's true. We started off as friends, Tamika and Nerfus, but Tamika in particular, we lived on the same floor, and our kids, Lamar and Sunai, were like best friends. And there have been times where Tamika and I laughed, belly laughed together, and times that we cried deep tears together. You know, imagine coming to a school, leaving everybody you know, your friends and family behind. My family was in Massachusetts, Tamika's family was in Connecticut. We moved to Chambersburg, Pennsylvania with our little ones in tow, and what it takes to be able to go through that process and be able to make it out with, you know, our heads intact. So many days I depended on Tamika, and I'm so happy that she was here, and I'm so thankful that she's here with me today. I'm just coming, so I want to say thank you, Tamika. And just to Wilson, I want to share how I learned about Wilson. So as you know, I came here with my daughter, so I was in the Women with Children program. Before finding out about Wilson, I was working full-time. I was living in Maryland at the time, working full-time. And like Tika said, Google was like coming up. I'm not that old for the young ones in here, but you know, Google was becoming more popular and they had a lot of different opportunities. I was like, I want to work for a company like that. So I went online to see like, what do I need to do to work for Google? All I saw were engineer jobs. I'm like, well, I'm not an engineer. And they had other jobs. I was like, I don't really want to do that. So I said, well, I guess I got to go be an engineer. So I said, I need to go back to school. So I went to the local community college in Howard Community College, so working during the day, having my daughter, I would drop her off with the babysitters, and then I would go to school in the evening. And I remember just one night, you know, we were on a break from school, from class, and I didn't even need a break, but you know, people walking around, like, let me just go stretch my legs. As I'm walking down the hall, I saw a flyer, it said Women with Children. And I was like, I'm a woman with a child, what is this? And it was a school, and I took the little phone number down and then I called, and that was like the beginning of the end. I applied to the program, I applied to the school, and then I packed this up, and then we drove up to Chambersburg, and then that was it, that we were gonna finish. And I had to, like, I would have never expected to find myself here. It's a testament to the school, the program, how you benefit people, because the professors are amazing, the staff were amazing. Like, it was just like a place that just accepted us as one of their own and just enveloped us. Like Tamika, I need to shout out Dr. Raleigh. I was excited when I saw her name. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be giving something at the same time Dr. Raleigh gets it. That's crazy, that's wild. And then we started thinking about our experiences together. And I just want to tell a couple of things. So when we were here, Dr. Raleigh would host this thing, I think it was called Hot Topics. It was a table, I think it was every Monday, where we would have the newspaper, we would pick something out the paper, and then we would have conversations about it. She's shaking her head like you remember, but every week, that was you. And you know, like, she fed my knowledge and energy of just learning about things that are outside of myself and beyond myself, right? Because we're in our little bubble, but having that every week, opening newspaper and picking a topic to talk about it was important. And these are things that I now do with my staff. You know, I'm like, hey, let's do a hot topic, and that all came from Dr. Raleigh. I remember that, and I continue that till today. You may not remember Dr. Raleigh, but I got that from you. Yes. And another one for Dr. Raleigh. The sociology, I just want to share because it's important. You know, we all come from our places with our different backgrounds and what your lived experiences are. And I remember the class, I can't remember exactly the class, but we were talking about people who were in domestic violence situations and like, why did they stay? And like, what happens there, the dynamics in that. Not coming from that background myself, I remember making a comment like, well, I don't know what's so difficult about just like packing up and leaving, right? Like, if somebody's hurting you, you don't feel safe, pack up and leaving. She must have heard that, or we all must sit in the classroom and having the same kind of conversation. But she went and she found somebody from the community to come in to do an education that was kind of like a game, where we had to put ourselves in the position of somebody who was in that situation. And she set up like, well, if you go to the, you know, a domestic shelter, what if you have a pet and the pet can't stay there? Okay, so what do you do then? And if you have a child, it's this, but there's no place for children. And just walking us through what that person would be going through life. And that completely opened my eyes. I mean, I always had empathy, but sympathy, but I was just like, yeah, it's not as easy as just being like, that person can do this, that person can do that. And Dr. Rowley, as much as others, are the ones from Wilson who had opened my eyes to things that I never thought about, because I just came from my background. You know what you know the people that you know, and that's how you live your life. So again, I had to just share that because like Dr. Rowley and Dr. Bev really made an impact with me. As much as Dr. Karen Adams, but she's not here, but she's a math professor. Yeah. I need to wrap up because I'm pretty sure my time is up. And I know that I'm doing a lot of talking, but I just wanted to make sure people hear those stories and they're there. I'm so honored. Like, I didn't expect this. I still don't know how I'm getting this. There are so many amazing students who deserve this as well. And I take this and I share that with them. I hear you. Yeah, I'm wrapping it up. I'm wrapping it up. Thank you so much to Alumni Association for organizing this event and putting this together and honoring me. And thank you all for listening to me, and have a great weekend. Thank you.
The Distinguished Adult Degree Program was established in 2012 in celebration of the 30th anniversary of that program of study. And it honors an alumna or an alumnus who has had a distinguished professional or volunteer career and has shown continuing service, interest, and support in the quality and growth of Wilson College. She or he must have demonstrated service to the college for a minimum of 5 years. Our 2024 awardee is a Wilson Legacy and a certified real estate appraiser. He serves as one of 3 Franklin County Commissioners and is also past president of both the Chambersburg School Board and the Chambersburg Hospital Board. As chairman of the Franklin County Council of Governments, he works to assist county municipalities and school districts. He is a member of the advisory boards of both Penn State, Mount Alto, and Harrisburg Community College, and sits on the board of the United Way and the Franklin County Democratic County Committee. He's also the owner of Zebrowski Appraisal, so it should come as no surprise that this year's recipient of the ADP Award is Robert Zebrowski, class of 202. And presenting the award is someone who will look very familiar to you.
I promise I won't go as long as I did earlier today. It's really a deep privilege for me to talk about Mr. Franklin County. I'm going to set the stage to use a previous speaker's words. Young, energetic president bouncing into town, and there's this event that's going on, something called Ice Fest, and you got to be there, you got to meet everybody. And you've got to meet Bob Z. That's what I kept hearing. You got to meet Bob Z. He's one of our alums. You got to meet Bob Z. And I remember that was one of our first conversations. And one of the things I took away from that conversation immediately was about his care for this community, his passion for lifelong learning, and his care for individuals. So if you think about the organizations in which he's been involved, the school board, a care for others and a care for education, the hospital board, a care for others, the Franklin County Area Development Corporation, a care for our community. I believe, is this now the 5th term that you are? 5 terms. That is a glutton for punishment. As our county commissioner, and I make a joke. Some of you know that I used to work in politics, and I got out because I thought it was really hard to be an honorable leader. And what amazes me about Bob is he is an embodiment of our honor principle. The way in which he leads in sometimes very challenging situations is so admirable. I appreciate how he cares about Wilson and Wilson students. He's constantly been an advocate for what can the county do to help the college. He is passionate about responsibly funding needed social services. You know, when you think about our community, we are a place that has a very low education attainment rate. That typically ties to a need for social services. And Bob has been passionate about trying to find ways to make those social services happen in a responsible way, even when state and federal funding haven't always come through in the way that they need to. I describe him as a common sense leader. Someone who doesn't think about party, but makes a decision because it's the right thing to do. Oh, how I wish there were more of him. He is an ally. He is an ally for people who are different. He's an ally for people who value education. He's an ally for Wilson and her students. And he wants to make Franklin County a better place to live, work, study, and play. And I'm proud to call him friend. Congratulations, Bob.
When Trish reached out and said that I was going to get this award, first I said that I really didn't have anything to say, but I am a politician. So my first the first public notice of my relationship with Wilson was in the fall of 1960, when there was a photograph in the front page of the Public Opinion, our local newspaper, showing me campaigning for John Kennedy with a bunch of Wilson girls. Our family was always associated with Wilson. My mom was an adult graduate in 1967. She was very involved in the Democratic Party, and there were a number of Wilson faculty that were involved in the Democratic Party back then. So they were friends of ours, and they were iconic names in Wilson history, Dr. Buck and Dr. Blair and Dr. Townsend, wonderful, wonderful people. And so I graduated from high school. I'm a townie, and I graduated from high school in 1969. I was involved in student government back then, and there's a picture in our 1969 yearbook that says, "A future politician?" ? And it was rather prescient, although I didn't get a paid position in politics until I was in my late 50s. So I went to Brown University. I got in largely because I had high SAT scores, and my father had been a graduate, so I was a legacy guy because I was a desultory student and rather lazy. Brown turned out to be quite a challenge for me. I wasn't prepared, I don't think, academically, socially, or emotionally. Plus, in 1969, there were an awful lot of distractions. So I ended up flunking out and moving back to Chambersburg, and I took a couple courses at Wilson. Some of you from, I think there might be some 1974 grads, you might remember I dated a girl named Wendy Walker, class of 74. And I was on campus a lot, sometimes when I shouldn't have been. But enough of that. But I ended up chasing Wendy to the Poconos and took a job as a bartender. And I ended up doing that for 7 years. Best career, let's say best preparation politics you could ever have, the same skill set. And ultimately, I found myself back in Chambersburg and had a 30-year career as a real estate appraiser. And by the time I got into my mid-40s, I really had a longing to finish. And I came back, and the real reason I wanted to speak today was not just self-gratification, but I wanted to honor Dr. Goodlong Anderson, who was helped me in every step of the way with the adult learning program. My Brown University credits, some of them were hippie courses they had back in 1969, and she helped me get them transferred, and she guided me in the whole CLEP process and so on and so forth. And then I took one course at a time, and J-term, summer, one course at a time. I could handle that. And I had family and kids and this and that, but I took one course at a time, and I just grinded my way through until I finished in 2002. And I'm very, very thankful to Wilson for that. As far as my successes, a lot of that is, well, it's doing stuff that I love to do. And most of it I did for free before I actually got a paid job. And I you know, it's that same skill set, only now I'm doing it for money. But I love what I do, and I love helping other people, and I love Wilson College, and I'm very, very thankful for this award. Thank you.
The Tift College Award was established in 1989 and presented to an alumna or alumnus who has demonstrated exemplary efforts to promote the continuing growth of the college. The TIFT is an award that highlights the example and assistance given by members of the Wilson family to alumni of TIFT College of Forsyth, Georgia, in their efforts to save their college, an exercise with which Wilson alumni are very familiar. This year, we honor and acknowledge a member of the class of 1964 for innumerable services and tireless dedication to this college. Brief examples of her devotion to Wilson include service as class president and treasurer, past officer of the Connecticut Wilson College Club, establishment of the Julia Sullivan, pardon my pronunciation, Osborne 64 Endowed Scholarship in 2015, which supports Wilson's affordability message and aids student retention. Generous donations and fundraising efforts continue. She is currently on the We Rise campaign steering committee, has sponsored numerous match campaigns for the college, donated her class ring to the Ring It Forward program, and written countless welcoming note cards to accepted students. And according to one of her nominators, has hosted many introductory gatherings of prospective students in her home and organized busloads of prospective students to visit Wilson for a weekend. And if that weren't enough, this retired school psychologist and guidance counselor dedicates non-Wilson time to the Tidewell Hospice in Venice Beach, Florida, as a relief receptionist. It is a joy to announce the winner of the 2024 TIFT Award, is Julia Osborne.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here, to be back on campus, to see how well campus looks, see how well it's doing, to be here and see your leader, President Fugit, who has done an extraordinary job bringing people back to the college, providing a path forward for the future. And I think Wilson's prospects for the future are excellent. I'd like to thank the Alumni Association for having me today, but for your ongoing efforts to promote the college and to welcome people home and to make this weekend something that people want to come back to. You can tell, I mean, congratulations to the class of 74, first of all, on your 50th reunion, you made it. And to see the class of 64 and Julie's classmates, a class that I think was just critically important to the college as the changes came about in after 2013. I started to really write prepared remarks, but I quickly dispensed with that because I want to speak from the heart about Julie, because for me, that's where she lives. She embodies the best of Wilson women. When I first joined the college in August of 2012, it was an extraordinarily difficult time. I was overmatched just at about every corner. When I first met with Julie at her home in Florida in January of 2013, the former swimmer in me can only use water references, but the waters were very choppy then. And by the end of this visit, I was maybe not drowning, but I was really close because she asked, you know, I'm used to an advancement person, you go in, you know, you meet people, you chat a little bit. It wasn't an inquisition, but it was very, very, very difficult. And, but what I came and I spent, you know, it was warm and sunny in Florida, as I remember. It didn't feel that warm during that visit, but I remember by the end of the visit, we had a wonderful connection. Julie came to Wilson in 1960 by way of New Rochelle, New York. I grew up about less than 15 miles away from there and in Greenwich, Connecticut. And I always felt a connection with Julie. She told you what was on her mind. And she was I just always really enjoyed her. When I got to know her a little bit more, of course, I connected with her very much on a personal level. And I think Angela could talk about that, Andrea and Alumni Relations, Katie, President Fugit, anyone that works in this, people connect with people. So we're all fond of this place, but it's the people that make it run. It's the administrative staff, it's the students who come here, the parents who support it. So it's really about the place and the people. And that combination at Wilson has been really extraordinary over 155 years now. Julie was very active when she was here as a student. The TIFT Award is a really special award, I think, for the college. It recognizes TIFT college's efforts to save their own college. 7 years after Wilson had its near-death experience in 1979, TIFT College was, I don't know if subsumed is the right word, but Mercer University nearby pretty much took over what TIFT was doing. And they were people, the TIFT alumni were assured that the college itself would remain. Well, I think 5 months later it had vanished. But for TIFT to then bring some funding here and their heart here to women that help them in their own battle. They were successful in county court originally. It was overturned ultimately by the Georgia Supreme Court, and TIFT went away. So I'm sure the alums hold it dear, but I think that has been really important here. So I think for Julie to win an award like this is just perfect. She's done everything. I think class of 64, did you appoint her president for life early in her tenure? I mean, for anybody to say they can do anything for life at Wilson, as you know, this can be, a hard place. So you have my utmost respect, but she not only talks the talk, she walks the walk. She is the ideal. She gives from her heart. She, time, talent, and treasure. That's what you talk about in our work. And she does it all. She inspired her own classmates in 2014. I believe they were the first class to give a six-figure reunion gift to the college. I think $101,964, if I remember. I think they were still collecting dollars in the afternoon, but that Julie established her own scholarship. I understand that your class presented the college with a reunion gift of over $400,000 on the occasion of their 60th reunion. So I think about 10 years ago, their efforts to get over six figures and the example that provided for others. And then I see where you all are today, and the number of you that are back. I ran into a couple women in the hall. Of course, when people graduated, within reason how old people are. And it's one of the things, I've always have thought is so great about Wilson. I'm always so inspired. I think when I first got here, when the class of 63 was celebrating their 50th reunion, I thought these women are in their 70s. And now I look at you all who I think are probably all somewhere in their 80s now. And I think this is amazing. And you've provided a wonderful example. And this place matters. Julie has come back to has somehow found a way in her life to come back to every reunion in 60 years. And she had two children and she raised them, and she was married and she got divorced and she married John. He's one of the good guys for sure. She, lost friends. She buried her parents, yet she found a way to come back to this place, to Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, every 5 years to be in this place with these people. And whoever those people, this class, but everybody, the collective Wilson. And I think that is the story of Wilson, that for whom it really resonated, it really, really mattered. And Julie has just been a wonderful advocate for the college. It's not just Wilson. You heard a little bit about her work with the Tidewell Hospice in Sarasota, who took care of both of her parents when they were dying. I went to Sarasota, I don't know, maybe it was 2017 or 18 when they dedicated a garden for Julie. And it was a little outside of the scope of my work, but I was down visiting other people, and it was so wonderful to see her because it wasn't just about Wilson. When Julie puts her mind and her heart and her pocketbook behind something, she really makes it matter. So I was delighted to be able to do that. And everything she has done here, Did they renominate you for president for the next 5 years? Are you back? Okay, so here's your president for the next 5 years. For life, okay, it's for forever, I guess. Okay. And so I just, it really is I think she was instrumental with helping her class in 2013 and 2014 when it was a really difficult time for the college. So I just want to say, professionally, Julie, you made my job and that of my team easier, and professionally, and personally, you made my life better because I always enjoyed spending time with you, and I love to see you anytime. And thank you for, it's a tremendous honor to be here to introduce you for the TIFT Award. But thank you.
I also have notes that I'll probably deviate from. I get very emotional. So Cammie, first of all, thank you for all of that. I gotta say, I invited Cammie to speak for me because I had lost my faith in Wilson when Wilson was struggling to stay alive. We were getting conflicting messages from different organizations and groups and people, and I didn't know who to believe, and I kind of withdrew from my interest in Wilson. Well, Cammie comes along, and little did I know that I was one of the first people she was going to talk to, and she convinced me to jump back in. And so I did, and I've not stopped since then. And she and her colleagues in the advancement office became my good friends. I have John Ross here, who I call my handler, because he was always pushing me to do a little bit more, to give a little bit more, to work a little harder, to do what we as a class were able to do. And what this leads to is this award is not me. This award is for my class. My class who has stood behind me, supported me, encouraged me, loved me, hated me, whatever. So I am accepting this award. Yes, I'm being given this award, but I'm accepting it on behalf of my entire class and of all those people at the college who have inspired me, the new folks, Wes, Angela, Denise, I can name them all, Becky, on down, supporting me, giving me the data and the documentation I needed to reach out, get more for the college. So thank you very much for nominating me and for giving me this award. I will treasure it.
Our final award this afternoon is the Distinguished Alumnus Award. Established in 1983, it is presented to honor an alumna or alumnus who has had a distinguished professional volunteer career or has shown continuing service, interest, and support in the growth of the college. She or he must have demonstrated service to the college a minimum of 5 years. This year's awardee is a member of the class of 1974 and was a Phi Beta Kappa student at Wilson, graduating magna cum laude in 3 years. She went on to Hahnemann Medical College, which is now Drexel University School of Medicine, and graduated with her MD in 1977. Her contributions to the field of physical medicine and rehabilitation, particularly for those diagnosed with spina bifida and cerebral palsy, are significant. She is an esteemed clinician and has distinguished herself in PM&R with over 169 presentations, 46 peer-reviewed papers, and contributions to over 21 publications. In 2021, she was recognized with the Gabrielle E. Molnar Swifford Pediatric PMNL Lifetime Award, at which time one of her peers called her, quote, one of the pioneers and unsung heroes of pediatric rehabilitative medicine. Her scholarship, philanthropy has made Wilson a stronger place, and she likewise contributes her presence serving on Wilson's Board of Trustees and chairing the Student Experience Committee. It is my great pleasure to introduce Linda. Presenting her award is AAWC former President Linda Stasio.
Trish has shared most of Linda's extremely impressive 31-page CV. Astonishing. Obviously, Linda was a very diligent student. She was also a very empathetic friend and classmate. When I asked my classmates on one of our round robin emails, from which I deleted you, for any recollections or stories, I did not get anything I'm willing to share with anybody. However, I got something better. Very quickly, a suggestion was made and an enthusiasm formed around this. So Linda, on behalf, actually, Evie, would you come down? The class decided that on this occasion, the most appropriate thing that we could do for our classmate was to present her with her very own green tiara.
We can't find it.
Well, to me, the most important thing is that Linda has had the type of career that makes each of us extremely proud that her name is associated with Wilson College. She has achieved things that are noteworthy and valuable to individuals who are suffering from some very uncomfortable and nasty diseases. And she has done all of this while maintaining a focus on her philanthropy and her giving back to others. We are extremely proud that she has made this difference and very happy to be able to recognize her as the distinguished alumna this year as she celebrates 50 years of her 50th reunion. I think Trish pretty much stole my speech, so sorry. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So someone take a picture so I can see what it looks like. Okay. I also wanted to thank all of you for joining me for my birthday weekend. You didn't know you were coming for my birthday weekend, but you were. Wilson, this is a real honor. Wilson is such a special place. And you said you were going to get emotional. I probably will. Wilson was the first place outside of my family I was treated as someone intelligent with something to offer to the world. I have been supported here by the faculty and staff and my classmates. When when I was asked who I wanted to have presented, I wanted to say the class of '74 because I wanted all of you up here. Wilson, there's so many people to thank. All the Wilson women who came before me, all of you who have been here since, you're all part of my Wilson journey. So thank you. I just want to say too, what Wilson has given me, it not only prepared me for a career. What I love telling people is when I went to medical school, and I went from being treated like an intelligent human being to not necessarily being treated that way. My histology textbook in my first year of medical school was the histology textbook I used at Wilson. That was the quality of the education that I received. I also have made lifelong friends, obviously. There are so many of them here. It's so fabulous to see everybody. I need to get Lynn to give me those emails, though. I need to hear what people had to say, but when I was hearing about other people and gentle and supportive, and I was thinking, oh, they're going to say I was too frank, but that's the way it goes. Anyway, thank you, all of you, for being part of my life journey, for helping me not only prepare for my career, but also for life, the honor principle. You don't know, I spent all my time in the Science Center, not all of it. I learned to love dance. I learned to love music. Wilson's liberal arts education gave me a lot. So thank you so much.
After that, there is very little to say. Except thank you very much for attending. Congratulations to our honorees. We celebrate all that you are, and you are truly stunning graduates of this institution. If you'd like to stay by and have some pictures, fine. Meanwhile, one more round of applause if we could. Thank you.